The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, welcome. I'm Jess Elmer with PAC, and we're going to hang out for a few minutes and hopefully have a few more people hop on the call today. I know it's such a busy time right now, but hopefully we'll get a nice crowd in here. Hey, Ellen, welcome. You can unmute yourself. I'm unmuting everybody today. So feel free to unmute yourself if you have anything to say.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good. Ellen, where do you come at us from?
I am just getting my morning coffee here in Alaska.
Oh my gosh. It is early in Alaska right now.
It is. It is darn early, but that's okay.
Where do you work in Alaska?
I run the Blue Moose Animal Therapy Center, so I'm in Soldotna, which is 2.5 hours south of Anchorage.
Got it. Very cool. Yeah, our CEU coordinator lives in Alaska, and I realized this morning that I forgot to obtain the CEU code, so I emailed her and then realized it was about 4:30 her time. But she sent me the
Anchorage,
code,
right?
which is good.
Is she in Anchorage?
Yeah. Carrie Campbell, she's on our board, and she's the head of the CEU committee. So, yeah, she got my last minute request there for that code. So, what kind of work do you do at your place?
We do daycare boarding and training, and then we have a unique kids program in which we bring kids into our facility for canine care camp, and they come and do 4 hours like field trips with us, and they learn about how to be with the dogs, and we start them without any dogs, and then we slowly add dogs in, and I have my certification in animal therapy work. I went to DU for the animals and human animal connection certification, and so I have a really, part of the reason of doing that was that then I really think this is valuable, particularly at this time, to have kids learn how to do what they need to do. So pretty amazing. And it works really, really well. So we're touching a lot of kids. I think we did 150 kids last year.
Wow.
So they come in groups, and so it's really great because we use the stoplight. We teach them about the stoplight, red, yellow, green behavior for dogs. I want to work on doing a webinar for you guys, but I've just been so stinking busy that I haven't had time to do it. But I want to do a webinar for you guys.
I was going to say, this is sounding familiar to me. I think we've talked about your place on our call.
Yeah, we talked a little bit. Yeah, we talked, and I just have been so stinking busy. But I wanted to see how. Yeah, I wanted to see how the year went, and the middle school picked it up, and they did it as a dog training. They do these mini courses at the end of the year, and they said it filled up in like 20 minutes.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's going really well.
Yeah, well, keep me posted, Ellen. I typically coordinate the webinars,
Okay.
or whoever you've been talking with most on the board is fine. But yeah, whenever it's a good day for you, we usually need, we have thrown these things together in 2 weeks, but we prefer to have about a month's notice to do proper marketing and that sort of thing. So just keep me posted.
Yeah. I absolutely love that idea. That's a great idea.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we, it just particularly during the pandemic, I've been doing it about 3-4 years. I've been doing it with the second grade class, and just getting it so that I'm worked into the school system. And then during the pandemic, of course, that threw it all off. But then we turned it from the canine care camp where kids came all together to more individualized programming called learning pods, where they came for an hour for a month at a time. They would come once a week and that's been a great for homeschool and for kids, that kids needed something to do during during the thing. So it was great. It's just a great program.
Yeah, and I'm sure great for you too. We had where I used to live, the animal control had actually a kids camp. We had a fantastic county animal control, and they had a little kids camp where you could come, and it doesn't sound nearly as in depth as yours, but
Right.
I led one of the classes, and it's just so refreshing to work with kids and to work with people with such a a bright outlook on life and all of that. So I'm sure that you get a lot from it too.
Well, it's such a, it's been interesting because our tagline for our facility is healthier pets, healthier people, healthier communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been amazing to watch. Like we have one of my colleagues that works with me. She's actually the head of the math department for the community college. And she had to do her whole reason for doing it, she had to do some community outreach for her job. And so, and she has a dog with mega esophagus. So imagine how great that is for kids, because we talk about, it's the science of what's wrong with Cinder, and it teaches kids empathy, and they help feed her. And then they, she's got some neurologic disorders as well. So her back legs, as we explain to kids, her back legs don't really know what her front legs are doing. And so the kids are so helpful and so empathetic, and there's not a better way to teach empathy to kids.
Yeah.
And they realize that this dog, she doesn't know any differently. And it's great to watch kids get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's been one of the most fun things for me, is watching kids just all of a sudden the light bulb goes on that, oh, these are just dogs playing. This isn't terrible, awful behavior. This is just how dogs play. We show with it. And the advantage, is that my facility isn't, I took over an old roller rink. So I have this huge facility that I'm able to put a lot of dogs and a lot of kids and we have space. So it's fun. It's just, I love what we do. So it's interesting for me, because I don't do a lot of the, I do sort of daycare 2.0, moving into enrichment stuff, but part of my enrichment is definitely this course for sure for the dogs.
Yeah.
Alan, I have a question for you. Are you on the Upright Brigade on Facebook?
I'm not, but send me all the information. I'm happy to jump on there.
Oh my, well, I asked that because I have a dog with mega esophagus and myasthenia gravis. So that's so cool. So I was curious if you were on the Upright group as well, because that's how I learned most about it.
I'm not, she's not my dog. So, but the cool thing about that, I think Claire Kachis is on all of that stuff, but I'll ask her for sure. But the great thing for me is that it's been so eye-opening for my staff as well, because we take care of her 2 days a week. She comes to daycare, and that has been an amazing deal for her, because she really has gained a lot as a dog, being around all the other dogs and being part of this.
Absolutely, that's awesome. I'm gonna search her out on the group, see if she's on there.
Yeah, she's I think she is, but she's this is the second dog she has had with Mega, and that it wasn't planned. When she told me, she said, "You're not going to believe this," but I said, "You're not going to tell me that Cinder has Mega E." She said, "Yes, she does." I was just shocked.
All right, very cool. Yeah, it was great learning about that, Ellen. So, welcome to our best practices session today, and I'd be interested to hear if that program fits into continuing education with your team and stuff like that. But let me first welcome everybody and kind of do the formal opening here. This is the best practices sharing for PAC professionals only. And today we're going to talk about continuing education for you and for the teams that you're a part of or in charge of, or whatever level you are in your pet care career. We've got just a small group today. We knew we were taking a chance at having it at 11 o'clock on on a Tuesday in the summer, but that's okay. We try to offer different times to accommodate different schedules there. Ellen, what time is it there in Alaska right now?
It's 7.
7 o'clock. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great time maybe for those of us on the East Coast, but in Alaska it is a touch early. But we appreciate you being here and appreciate our other attendees for coming in. This is a best practices sharing session, so please feel free to unmute your mics. It is all about sharing ideas from one to the other. So unmute your mics and welcome. And I think sometimes a small group setting in sessions like this actually facilitates a bit more conversation. So we definitely want to hear from you. There is a CEU available for our live attendees today, which I'll give out closer to the end of the session, but welcome everybody. And so yeah, today we know that you guys value continuing education, otherwise you wouldn't be PACCC certified. So we know that you all have tons and tons of ideas out there. So Jamie, you agreed to kind of kick things off today with some ideas on continuing education and training. So do you want to get us started?
Absolutely. I'm on my little cell phone, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I didn't really want to talk specifically about continuing education courses specifically, because I figured all of you all are going to have lots of ideas of that anyways. But what I wanted to share today was just one of the things that I do, and I've been doing it since 2018 when I first got certified. And before that, when I was certified as a trainer, what I love to do is every month I make kind of like a one thing goal, or I pick one thing that I'm really interested in, whether it's geared towards my business or geared towards me personally or in the community. I pick a theme, if that makes sense. And my goal is to achieve one CEU surrounding that kind of theme. So I'll check my resource list, and I'll kind of go down all through them, and somebody else will probably talk about all of the resource lists and specific ones that you can kind of go through and find CEUs for. But I'll check them off every month. And if I'm busy, and sometimes we get 1 month or 1 week or 1 day where we're just so busy, and the last thing we can think of is extras. So if I'm busy that month, I'll actually figure something out that's either free, or I'll pack another thought onto another month, or I'll add it on kind of to the end of the year, if that makes sense. Especially if I don't have the funds, if I haven't sold anything or I haven't made any income or anything during COVID, where I wasn't allowed to be in class sessions. That was my time where I really fully loaded my brain with so many things. So that's kind of what I do. I actually have a resource list that I keep that is paid. And then I also have a resource list that is free. So I kind of go through both of them and see which one applies to me in that month and the theme that I want to do. So that was kind of my idea. I thought that might help somebody else, and just to kind of get organized. I'm not the most organized person. My desk is, if you looked at my desk today, it's like just chaos. I have papers everywhere. But I like to have my form filled out and my CEUs to put on and just enter it as I kind of do it. So for today, I've got my form ready to jot down the CEU when we get it. And then that's another one for my list. So that's one for this month. So that was kind of my idea. I don't know if anybody else does something like that.
Yeah, I like that, Jamie, about how you mentioned you're going to take care of the CEU right here today. I know in years past, I have found myself scrambling at the end and digging through files and bags from conventions and things like that, looking for CEU forms. So such a great idea too, to take care of it today as soon as you have that ready to go. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for getting us started. So Ellen, it sounds like you have a number of different certifications. Do you have any approaches that you take in terms of getting CEUs?
I have, I'm also a radiology tech, and so I keep up that licensure as well. And I wish to God there was a way to shove everything together, but I know there isn't. So I actually am just getting started on getting my CEUs, because I've just been so busy. So that's part of why I'm here is, you know, what's everybody's approach, and where are our lists? I'm really interested in what are our lists and how do we need to do that, and what do we need to do, and how hard is it to, I know in the radiology world, it's like pulling teeth trying to get new things certified. So I just have to figure out how everything works, because I'm pretty new to this certification, which I love, and I'm having my staff. I'm really impressed with, you know, I think the certification is so important because I came out of medicine and came into the dog world. It's been, you know, 10, 15 years now, but that was the thing that really struck me, was how wide open this field is and how there isn't any best practice, and anyone can do it. And so I love that we're taking the initiative to do it the right way and to do it correctly. And I just told my staff, I said, so I'm going to tie this to your raise, and if you do this, you know, there's some monetary value to working on this. And so I've seen my staff take this new approach of, oh, you know what, let's figure out how to get to the next level. So that's been great for me. So I'm wide open to hearing new ideas on what's the fastest way. I love this idea of I'm going to go find my piece of paper for my CEU credit for right now, once I get done with it.
Yeah, do that right away.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that Jamie mentioned, you know, there's tons of resources to get paid CEUs. One of the reasons why we love doing these different webinars at PAC is we do want to give people some low cost options for obtaining CEUs, because, you know, sometimes it's not only you obtaining your CEUs, but also your team obtaining CEUs. So we want to make sure there's lots of resources at different price points. One of the things I did want to show here at the beginning is, you know, PAC does these webinars, and we have been doing them for a few years now, whether it's a best practices sharing or we have a guest speaker, and those are all housed on our YouTube channel. I have a screenshot right here of our YouTube channel. Jamie, are you seeing the YouTube channel? You'll be my eyes out there.
Yep, I can
Okay.
see it.
Yeah, so if you go to our YouTube channel, and we'll post this up on the Facebook page afterwards, there are a number of different webinars that we have done over the years that are fantastic information, and they are eligible for one CEU. So you'll watch the webinar, and at some point we present the CEU code there. So this is a sampling of some of them. These ones down here about how to become certified, you know, you can see they're 30 seconds long, 1 minute long. Those are not eligible for CEUs, but all these other ones that are about an hour long, those are the CEU ones, and you can see some of our previous best practices sharing. Ellen, in particular for you, if you're newer to PAC, I don't know when you got certified, but this one here, maximizing, the very first one, maximizing your certification, that is a great one for people who are just getting started with PAC to go to. And you can see a number of other ones here. Ni Kang, she did one. She's a you know, got every certification in the world. I can't even name it, but she did one on separation anxiety that was hugely popular there. Sonia Wilson, who wrote the book, Hairy Situations. She wrote Hairy Situations, of all the terrible things that can happen at your pet care center and how to be prepared for it. She did one on You Can Be the Master of Any Disaster, which is great. The Dog Gurus did one on how to avoid pet tragedies in your pet care center, which is a great one for your team to watch. And again, these are all free. One of our most recent ones Jamie agreed to do on decompression and pets and professionals, because 2020 was a very stressful year, not just for people, but also for pets. So there's a wide variety of things here. And again, those are all free. We're really building up a great library there. So be sure to check that out. And that's a great way for your team to gather some CEUs as well.
Hey,
I
Jess.
wanted,
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Stephanie, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm not exactly sure who was all on the call, but I'm glad that we're doing a best practices session. Just if we want to streamline it as well, we have our YouTube channel, absolutely, but we can also guide our teams to the PAC website under news and resources, and there is just a link called webinars, and those are all the ones that have CEUs, and I think that link will take you right to the specific video on the YouTube page.
Great. Yep, that's great. So, yeah, YouTube is sometimes, even I had a difficult time this morning doing a search for our own channel. So yeah, going to the website is probably the quicker way to get there. So thank you for that, Stephanie.
I wanted to add too, one of the things I wanted to talk about, which is kind of probably an end conversation, but just in case it gets forgotten, I wanted to mention that because I know Ellen had mentioned, not necessarily knowing where to go to find resources and what to do. If you have a resource that you found or that you've done, so a webinar or you've bought something and it's not listed on our resource list, there is a page on the website that you can go to that you can submit approval for something you've viewed or you've done, and you can send it in for approval for a CEU. So if all else fails and you've already done a few things, absolutely send that in, because that could potentially become something great for you.
That's fantastic.
So I'm interested in trying to kick off some of where other people are also getting their information and their continuing education credits, like even outside of the PACCC CEUs. Unfortunately, I only have about another 10 or 15 minutes to be on the call. I am pursuing my continuing education at Super Zoo. So I just have to hit the trade show floor here shortly, but just to kind of share some of those, how we educate our staff and the different methods that we can use to educate our staff. I think we have to start looking outside of the box to share the knowledge. And to Jamie's point, sometimes you find something really awesome and we have a tendency to keep it to ourselves. So for our team at Paw and Order, we do the Knowing Dogs 101 and 201. We have set aside the IBPSA video library, and once every second month we assign a video to each individual team member, and then we have like a 3-hour after hours kind of learning session where each team member presents their subject matter to the rest of the team in like a 15-minute bullet point highlight session, so that we get those things. So I found the IBPSA certificate programs very beneficial, and their video library just goes on and on and on for all different levels of certification. I mean, there's financial stuff, there's budgeting stuff, there's cleaning, sanitation, etc. Fetch Find, I mean, their whole curriculum is completely free, so that's a fantastic resource as well. The Ian Dunbar Academy, to point you kind of, Victoria Stilwell as well is another, tremendous resource. Milena DiMartini has some great courses out there as well if people are kind of looking for different stuff. I mean, we can always go to the PAC website and see what's approved for PAC CEUs, but I'd be interested in aside from, the PAC website, where are you getting your education? Is it through books, like on the HR side, on the leadership side, on the financial management side? Like, what is everybody else doing aside from, the obvious stuff that and it might not be obvious, but to me, the stuff that we talk about with PAC quite often, because these are our most support, pet tech, first aid and CPR, and the Pet Saver, like those are the ones that we go to the most because they've been involved with PAC the most. But what's everybody else doing as far as where you get your educational content. Are there companies out there that we don't know about that that PAC should be talking to, or that we should just be investigating some of the curriculum?
Hey,
Yeah, great.
Steph, how's it going out there?
It's going wonderful. We're about to hit the trade show floor, and I said I'm not doing any of actually the Super Zoo educational stuff, but while I'm here, however, I think there's value to. I mean, this trade show floor is like 8 football fields, so I think there's a lot of value to going through the trade show floor and looking at and talking to vendors about why they have these products, like even the food ones. I mean, you go to those and you talk about nutrition. All of that is education. I'm going to be much more educated at the end of this trade show than I was going in if I'm smart enough to pay attention to the vendors who have specialized in that area, like nutrition or enrichment games, or, you know, handling device, different harnesses and different training, you know, whatever. So that's an excellent training opportunity, or learning or educational. I won't get a CEU for it, but I know that I'll come out of this better educated in a variety of different areas than I was when I went in. So if you have access to a trade show, whether it's, you know, IBPSA trade show or VMX or Super Zoo or, you know, Lollapalooza in Ontario, Canada, or what, like if you go into it trying to learn from the vendors, I think there's a lot to be gained from that.
Yeah, I wanted to circle back too to what Ellen said earlier, talking about the webinar. If you created a webinar, you also, so if you create content or submit content, I believe you get a CEU for that. Am I correct?
You are indeed. There's different ways to obtain CEUs. You could submit exam questions, up to 5. You get a CEU for 5 exam questions. You can participate as a volunteer, an official volunteer for PAC, and that will get you, for each year that you sit on one of our committees or whichever, that'll get you a CEU. Yeah, there's a number of different ways. If you author an article for like Petco Pro Quarterly or something, you can get a CEU for that. So there's additional CEU opportunities, I guess, you know, that are available through PAC aside from webinars and things. But if you present a webinar and you are the instructor, then you can get, if you attend the webinar, it's a CEU, but if you prepare and present the webinar, it's 2 CEUs per hour of education.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Jamie, because I think a lot of people do think of CEUs, at least for PAC, as, you know, completing some course. But like Stephanie said, there are other ways. You know, you kind of contribute to the PAC and expand our mission and put forward our mission, and you get rewarded with CEUs there too. And writing exam questions, I mean, that's something that anybody can do. And even publishing an article in the journals, it's something that you know, is a great achievement, but it's not out of reach for anybody. We all have our expertise and our experiences, so don't count yourself out on that either, and think that it's not achievable. So those are great ways that we can obtain CEUs. One other thing that you said, Stephanie, that I love is putting your team in charge of you know, researching a topic and presenting it to your other team members. That way it doesn't always fall on the plate of the leader or the management team. It also really can empower your team to become that expert in, you know, heat safety or canine cough or whatever it is. You know, that's a fantastic idea to kind of spread that out there.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey guys. And lo and behold, I happen to be here, as you well know, at Super Zoo with the IBPSA and helping them at their booth with the lovely Carmen Rustenbeck. And she just said to me, if somebody submits an article for a PAC CEU that gets, so you write an article and it's approved by PAC to be valid and in lines with our core values and things like that, that Carmen and the IBPSA will create a PAC corner in their Pet Care Quarterly and publish that article in the Pet Care Pro.
Very cool.
So if you submit an article to PAC and saying that I wrote this article, then IBPSA will publish it under PAC Corner. So there you go.
Yeah, awesome.
Love that.
You were sitting in the right place, Stephanie.
Apparently I was. Apparently I'm in the right place at the right time right now. But
Carmen's feeling generous today. What else can we get?
always feeling generous. But you know, what a great opportunity for some of our PAC certified pros to become published.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what a wonderful opportunity. And I think that just lends credit and credibility to our PAC certified pros as well, that they know what they're doing and they're contributing to making our industry better. And is that not what PAC is about?
Right.
PAC is about
Right.
making our industry better today than it was 5 years ago or yesterday, and by learning and ongoing education. So what if you author an article and you share the knowledge from a PAC perspective, then absolutely it's a pretty fast track way to get published.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a great idea.
Dirk, we haven't heard from you. Do you have anything that you wanted to share or any thoughts on the topic here? You can feel free to unmute yourself. Everybody should be able to unmute themselves just by clicking the little red microphone, or Sabine, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you've got anything to share, please hop on here. Just click on the little microphone that's red and it should turn green and we can unmute you. So feel free to chime in there. One of the things that, and just cut me off, I'm just talking until people kind of think and raise ideas. But one of the things that Stephanie mentioned that I do think is so important is looking outside of our box of the pet care industry. And that's something I've tried to do here recently, is when there is a hot topic, and I think COVID probably sparked this, is you were looking for resources from everywhere because things were happening so quickly. So a lot of times I'll see a topic in the pet care industry and kind of go outside of our world just to get different perspectives. And obviously you can't do that with every topic, but with a lot of topics that you can. One of the things I'm really concentrating on right now that's a hot topic is diversity and inclusion and the impacts that has on your business. And there aren't a lot of resources within our pet care industry on that particular topic. So I've been looking at other sources of information, and it's just really fascinating to learn from other brains that have different experiences and things like that. So I think it is so important to reach out to other industries to gain knowledge.
I know one of the things that haven't been mentioned yet, another free resource is if you go to the veterinary sites, even just your own local veterinary site. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm driving, so I wasn't sure. But the veterinary sites and the AVMA and the CVMA, those are all great resources for. And if it's not if it's not listed as a CEU potential already, you can submit it and say you've done it and hopefully be approved for it. So that's another great idea as well.
Great. Thank you, Jamie.
We have another idea sitting here.
Go for it.
So I don't know who's on the call. Jess, do we have a number? How many people are on the call?
7.
Okay. So if there are between the 7 people here, if you have done the canine or feline sections, certificate programs through the IBPSA, I do know that they are invested in rewriting and reviewing and updating that curriculum. If there's anybody on this call today, or another PAC certified professional who would be interested in contributing, working on a project with the IBPSA and updating that curriculum from a pet care professional standpoint, then get in touch with either me or with Carmen, and we can put a committee together to go through that content, and that would obviously be worth CEUs as well.
That is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that would be great.
We would love, I know the IBPSA wants the, Carmen and I were talking about this yesterday, and they want to update it and refresh it because it's not outdated, but it's old and it needs to be revisited. And I asked Carmen, I said, well, who do you think should do that? She's like, PAC certified professionals. So now we need some PAC certified professionals who want to do that.
Sign me up.
Absolutely. So send me, if somebody on this call would be interested in working on that project, please get in touch with me. We'll get organized and we'll start going through it and really helping the industry set those standards.
Yeah, that's fantastic. One thing really quick, a couple of you have said you're having a hard time unmuting yourself. Feel free just to type in a question or type in a comment into the questions box as well. That's fine. Stephanie, back to your point, and I think, you know, if you have PAC certified professionals on your team, what a great way to get them really invested in this as a career by having them participate with a project like that with IBPSA or challenging them to write an article. You know, we love certification and what certification means and what it does for the industry, but we also have to think about what it does for us, our employees, and that sort of thing, in advancing your goals and your aspirations. So I just think that would be a really great way to build value, not only in yourself, or if you manage teams that have PAC certified professionals, just getting them a little bit more tangled up in the industry and showing them that there's a bigger world out there than the four walls that they work in. That would be such a great thing for everybody, a win-win-win.
And not only that, you come up with ideas or you learn of things that you didn't even think that could become a passion of yours. Like, you know, you didn't really think much about a topic until you had to either present it or write it or create it or be a part of it. And then it's like, oh man, I want to specialize in that. So that's how those things get started.
And when we talk about employee engagement, I think your point is well made, Des. I mean, how can you better engage an employee than having them start to review and rewrite the curriculum on a massive training program like that? And it really shows them that the pet care industry is bigger than being a kennel attendant. Right? I mean, maybe that's where they started, but it is bigger and has more career opportunities than people might see on the surface. On that note, I have to personally duck off to hit the trade show floor, but I thank you for everybody's time and allowing me to kind of speak before I had to get off of this call. Jess, you're my hero. I absolutely love you for doing these sessions all the time. You're awesome at it. Thank you so much for taking the time and getting all of this organized for everybody.
Strive higher for your hero than me, Steph, but I really
I don't think so. I don't think so. You're the go-to, you know, education, making sure our PAC community comes together on a regular basis, whether it's in webinars or best practices. And, you know, I know that the entire board of PAC really, really appreciates it. And let's get some of the people who took the time today to be on this call to really start to get involved in this industry on a higher level so that we can share that knowledge, because the ones that are going to benefit most from that are the pets. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Stephanie. Enjoy Super Zoo.
Thank you. See you guys later. Have fun on the rest of the call.
Thank you.
Jess, do we?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Do we do much with the National Link Coalition?
I don't.
Do people know what that is? So that's another really great resource. The National Link Coalition is a link that is run by Phil Arco. And that is something that I think PAC should really look at. It helps realize what it teaches you is that there is a definite link between child abuse, elder abuse, domestic violence, and animal abuse. And it really brings forth that we as pet professionals have a duty and an obligation to sort of know if those things are happening and how to help. Part of the reason that my program came to to fruition. And one of the things that's helpful is one of the questions that I ask when I go into class is when I'm working with the class, I say, how do you help your animals be good at your house? And I kid you not that a small kid stood right up and said, you know, when our dog doesn't behave, we just punch him right in the face. Well, how shocking was that, number one, for us to hear, but what a great opportunity for us to realize that this kid is obviously, if that's what he's seeing, then there's things going on in his home life that we had an opportunity to show him a different way. And I've had kids say things to me like, I didn't know dogs could be nice. I thought they were all mean, like in the fighting ring. Well, what is that? You know, but I had no idea how prevalent that situation was. And so that's another really great resource, and it's one of those ways where we can, being certified and understanding that there's more involved, you know, how we treat our pets is very telling of how we treat our kids and our parents and people within our community. And so I think that's another great resource, and it ties us into it ties our industry into the professionalism of how we are setting. And, you know, the link has been responsible for setting new laws in different states about how animals are treated and how legislation has changed. So I think that's I just thought about that, and that's something we really should start including in our PAC stuff.
I really love that, Ellen, and you brought that up during a really fantastic time, because on our next board call, we're talking about some more sensitive topics like that and how PAC is going to be approaching them in the future. So this was an excellent thing to bring up, and really fascinating topic.
Yeah, Phil Arco is willing, able, and wants to talk about this organization. So if you just go type in the Link Coalition, you'll find him. And if you can get him to speak with, you know, at the board, that would be great. And bringing him that would be an excellent webinar for everybody, because it is fascinating what they're doing. And we have the opportunity to really, that's how, you know, you change legislation, and that's how you get things changed and done. And so to be able to do that, and to advocate for pets in a way that is the right way to do it is great.
Yeah, that just went to the top of my webinar to-do list there. That just sounds really fascinating to me. And you know, all these points that we've been talking about is getting out of the four walls of our pet care businesses, contributing to the community, you know, showing your employees there's a bigger world out there, and how you can be a part of it. And oh my gosh, I had never even thought about that until you just said that. And that is just fascinating to me. Thank you so much.
We have a few professionals, certified professionals, that actually at their facility will house safe haven for pets of those leaving domestic violence. And I think that's incredible as well. I'd like to see kind of more of that, or conversation of that in PAC as well, because all of us could help in some ways for that. So that's a great topic, Ellen. That was awesome. But I also have to get going as well. I hate to leave the meeting, but my dog has a very important vet appointment. So I'm so sorry, but I also have to leave.
Yeah, Jamie, thank you for joining us. I know it's such a busy time. We really appreciate it. We're probably going to wrap up here in a minute anyway. So thank you so much for staying on. Yeah, so thank you, Ellen. And then Dirk typed in, he's having a hard time being unmuted. And to be honest, this is a little bit newer of a approach that we're taking with these webinars, having everybody unmuted. So it might be an issue on my end, Dirk, but I think he expressed something that a lot of people have felt during 2020 is just the influx of online learning. So today has been great to hear more about different ways that we can achieve continuing education rather than just sitting in front of a screen there. So hopefully you've got a few new ideas here, Dirk. Definitely some online stuff still, but a few more ideas to get those CEU units, whether you're traveling to conventions or the other things that we discussed. I do want to provide the CEU code because I know we'll be wrapping up here soon. And the CEU code, which I obtained just this morning, thanks to our fantastic CEU coordinator. But the CEU code for today that you can use to submit is C as in cat, 210273. I'm going to say it one more time. CC210273. And that is the CEU code for today. With the best practices sharing sessions, if you have people that want to listen to this, or maybe you want to have somebody listen to this, they're free to. The CEU is actually only eligible for those who were here and participated because it's a sharing session. So we have to have you live on the session for the CEU. So we appreciate your attendance. Anything else here in our final minutes? I know everyone is busy, so I don't want to just keep rambling, but any other things that people want to contribute before we head out today? Let me just make sure I got to all the questions too. Somebody asked for the code one more time, so I'll give that. C as in cat, 210273. So that is CC210273. That's the code for today. Ellen, we're going to be in touch with you, and we'll persist until we get you to do a webinar. Sounds like, but yeah, let's get through the summer and whatever your busy season is, and we'll definitely get you on here.
Yeah, and I would love to just talk to you anyway, because I'd like to volunteer for some committees. I'd like to, you know, I missed my opportunity to be on the board, but that's okay. I'll start on some committees and work through and get to where we need to be.
Yeah, and a committee is really a great place to start. I think it kind of gives you the, you know, the lay of the land. Sometimes jumping right onto the board is a lot to take in. So the idea of starting on a committee is great. And for those listening, PAC is always looking for volunteers because, as you all know, we're almost 100% a volunteer effort. So lots and lots of volunteer hours go into making PAC. So Ellen, we would welcome that. So we will definitely get in touch with you about doing some education for us and also that committee work. Thank you, everyone. I know it is such a busy time to be able to join a session like this. So I really appreciate everyone hopping on. The recording will be on our website and our YouTube channel. So feel free to look at this at another time and email PAC with any questions you have. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.